Is Saints running back Alvin Kamara washed? Does he have anything that he can add to the team? We're going to talk about it. Straight Up TJ starts right now.
DJ, yeah. Straight up. Let's go. Welcome to Straight Up DJ. Tap in, sit back, press replay. Been locked in with the Saints on a weekday. Now we talking every sport, every big play. Years on the grind, now we level up the view. From the dome to the world, get a better look at you. No script.
Hey, what's going on? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. Welcome to another edition of the Straight Up TJ podcast. I really do appreciate it. Much love to you on this Friday evening. And to be honest with you, thought that this would be an impromptu show. Normally, I don't go live on a Friday because I know a lot of people will be doing a thing. But at the end of the day, this needs to be discussed. We're going to be talking about Saints running back Alvin Kamara, and answering the question, is AK washed? And I'm asking this question is based on me talking on X, social media. You can follow me on TJAY Jones 8 on X. And I was just talking about some of the things that people have been saying about AK. Some people feel as if Alvin Kamara does not have it anymore. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the tweet that kind of inspired this impromptu show, because I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. I didn't. I just kind of, just tweeted this because, I just thought that it needed to be said. And I didn't think that it was something that Saints fans didn't necessarily agree with based on what we have seen when it comes to the performance of the Saints offensive line. I said the Saints fans are ready to throw truck parades anytime a running back on a team gets 10 yards. That's how disappointing the offensive line has been. But I'm supposed to believe that AK is so over the hill that he can't be a difference maker now that the Saints seem to have improved their offensive line. And I also said something else. I'm going to go ahead and pull up. That's not even what I see originally. Want to see if I can go ahead and find that. But yeah, it was all just based on that. I thought that everybody was kind of like in agreement when it comes to, maybe the New Orleans Saints offensive line not being able to, get it done. Here it is. This is the original tweet. It says the Saints have had AK running into a brick wall for almost 5 seasons. They finally get offensive line correct, and now they want to act like he's not capable of being a difference maker anymore. All right. So honestly, like I said, I didn't think it was that big of a deal because I thought that everybody kind of knew that Alvin Kamara, wasn't himself because, number one, the Saints weren't utilizing him the way that we are used to seeing him. And number two, the offensive line has been in shambles. But it's amazing to me, like how many people, really believe that Alvin Kamara is washed. And I don't believe that Alvin Kamara is washed. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. I feel like a lot of what Alvin Kamara has been going through over the last 4 to 5 seasons has a lot to do with the Saints not utilizing him correctly. We've seen how successful Alvin Kamara could be if you utilize him correctly when it comes to Sean Payton, and even with a brief stint with offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak. I think the Saints have failed Alvin Kamara more so than Alvin Kamara failed in the Saints. So when it all comes down to it, I don't think that he's washed. And it's also amazing to me that you have Saints fans out here that are comparing Alvin Kamara to these backup running backs, guys like Artrick Estime, Devin Neal, Kendre Miller, and saying that they can lead the charge and they're better than Alvin Kamara at this point, which is absolutely laughable when it's laughable because when you look at their stats, like people are putting up, oh, this guy averaged this many yards a carry. This guy averaged this many yards a carry. If they would have used him, they started talking about Devin Neal because, that one game that he had versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But what does every last one of those guys that they're talking about have in common, for the exception of Ultra Estimate? All of them were hurt. Devin Neal was put on IR. Kendre Miller was put on IR. So Alvin Kamara has shown you throughout the course of time that he can get the job done despite having some injuries in his own right. He has still been able to be one of the best, if not the best, running back in Saints history. And I think that Saints fans are looking at this thing completely wrong. They're looking at it as if Alvin Kamara doesn't have it anymore, so he shouldn't be on the team based on him being the featured back. Alvin Kamara is not going to be the featured back for the New Orleans Saints in 2026. That job belongs to Travis Etienne. That's the reason why the Saints signed him in the offseason. That is why I am advocating for people to explain to me, what is it about Alvin Kamara that you think he is so washed that you don't feel like he can bring anything to the table at all, or they just need to cut their losses? The Saints moving on from Alvin Kamara being a featured back, I will say I would agree with. Alvin Kamara will be 31 years old at the start of the season, and I don't feel like Alvin Kamara should be your featured back, right? The fact that they went out and got Travis Etienne, it makes sense. But if you were to accompany Travis Etienne with Alvin Kamara, I think the Saints would have a really formidable duo. And I think that they will be able to complement one another, and it will allow these two guys to be able to be upright throughout the remainder of the season versus having so much wear and tear by the time the latter part of the season comes and you have to rely on those guys to be available. So at the end of the day, are we talking about Alvin Kamara reverting back to 2018, 2019, Alvin? Absolutely not. But if we're talking about a guy who can still bring something to the table, I just don't believe that he is so washed. I don't even think he's washed at all. I don't think it's to a point where he's just so long in the tooth that he can't be a compliment to Travis Etienne. Like, somebody is going to have to convince me of that. I just don't see it. Go ahead and read some of your comments. Not going to be a long show, but what are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts on Alvin Kamara, and do you feel like Alvin Kamara is washed? It says, what up, TJ? What's going on, Brent? Appreciate you for being here. Young Nola says, my mom passed away. TJ, is tough for your boy, man. Nola, I'm so sorry to hear that, brother. I am so sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. I will keep your family in my prayers, man, and keep you in my prayers as well, man. Yeah, man. Shout out to young Nola. Let's pray for that brother, man. What's up, TJ from Texas? Yeah, what's going on, Biggie? Yeah, young Nola, man. Look, I'm sorry that you're going through this, man. I'm sorry that you're going through it, but like I said, we're gonna pray for you and hope that you find strength in these difficult times, brother. The answer is no. Alvin Kamara is not washed. Yeah, I don't think that Alvin Kamara is washed either, Jerry. I just don't believe that. I pretty much said my piece. I'm gonna go ahead and put this graphic up, and I'll just open up the phone lines, and if somebody want to expound on this particular topic, they can. But this is Alvin Kamara over the last 4 seasons, as we can see. 2022, he rushed for 897 yards and 2 touchdowns, 57 receptions for 490 yards and 2 touchdowns, 1,387 yards from scrimmage. And then 2023, he rushed for 694 yards, 5 touchdowns, 75 receptions, 466 yards and 2 touchdowns, 1,160 yards, right? Then we have in 2024, Alvin Kamara had 950 yards and 6 touchdowns, 68 receptions, 543 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1,493 yards. And then, of course, last year, 471 yards, 1 touchdown, and he had 33 receptions for 136 yards and 657 yards from scrimmage with a total of 1 touchdown. And, That's the year that everybody is just trying to like hold on to try to justify the fact that Alvin Kamara doesn't have it anymore. I mentioned this before, and I'm going to say this again. A lot of people said the same thing about Cam Jordan in 2024. They were saying that he was washed. Saints need to move on from him, this, that, and the third. And then Cam Jordan goes out last season, has 10 and a half sacks, and I don't hear that type of energy anymore. I just think that it all comes down to how are you utilizing Alvin Kamara? What are you asking him to do? And on top of that, are you catering to his skill set? And I have to say, I have not seen that quite often. I think that Clint Kubiak got the best out of Alvin Kamara because he utilized his skill set, and that outside zone seemed like it was beneficial to him. But when you combine the fact how Alvin runs, and you have to rely on the offensive line in order for the running back to be able to generate success, that is key. Like, I'm not looking at none of these other guys that people are talking about who probably had like one run of 10 yards, and all of a sudden they're supposed to be better than Alvin Kamara. This offensive line has caused this team to not really generate the success you want to see in the running game. I don't care who you put up against Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara will average like 3.6 yards a carry. And then, you got Kendre Miller who averaged 3.9, and Devin Neal, the one everybody paying attention to, he averaged 3.6. Archer Estimate averaged, 4.3 yards a carry, and everybody, saying, oh, he was more productive. But, I mean, if I shoot 100 free throws, right, and you shoot 10 free throws, and, you shooting, I don't know, 70%, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that actually mean? Like, you shot less free throws than me, right? And there's a less sample size that they're pulling from a percentage standpoint. We don't know if you was to make Archer Estimate the feature back or do what Alvin did to start the season, people are saying, what are you saying? You're saying that he will be more productive? I don't believe that. I just think that it's based on opportunities. I'm not saying Archer Estimate is terrible. I think that he is good. But at the end of the day, I don't think he's better than Alvin Kamara. And I don't look at a yards per carry and be like, that is the reason why he's better. I just think that we have a tendency of falling, get in where you fit in. We got a tendency of falling in love with the shiny new toy because it's that thing that hasn't done anything yet. It still has the new car smell on it. It still has the wrapper still put on it. The jersey hasn't been through the first rinse cycle yet. And everybody just falls in love with the new shiny thing. But what were we asking Alvin Kamara to do? If you're asking Alvin Kamara to be a complimentary back to a feature back, who would do it better? Alvin Kamara will. Plain and simple. Because we've seen Alvin Kamara do this throughout his entire career, and Alvin Kamara is still a better running back in the grand scheme of things. All of those other guys are talented, and they have a lot to offer. And look, like I said, I'm not trying to bash anybody. It all comes down to what the New Orleans Saints do in the future. That's on them, right? Whatever they decide, it is what it is. Hopefully it's for the betterment of the team. But I am not in that number when it comes to believing that Alvin Kamara does not have anything left in the tank anymore. I just don't believe that. I mean, especially like you're only talking about a guy who has one more year on his contract. He only has one more year on his contract, and like after that, if you want to go in a different direction, I can understand. But to a point where we have to go ahead and let him go, and like because he ain't got anything left, and he's not worth at least one more year in a black and gold, I don't agree with that. Alvin lack of production, I feel like, is due to bad utilization and bad offensive line play. I think it has a lot to do with that, man. I think when Alvin thrived, the Saints' offensive line was at his best. I think that he's a guy, if you see how he runs, like I just, some people just, they're so matter of fact, right? I mean, man, this guy averaged 3.6, so he don't have it anymore. Like, we don't like putting things into context. Look at the way that Alvin Kamara runs. Like, every big run that he's had has been set up by blocks. Every last one of them. That run that everybody talks about when they played against the Green Bay Packers, when Drew Brees threw him that ball on the screen, that run was set up by offensive line play. We seen Eric McCoy out there as a lead block. There was that run that happened a couple of years ago against the Cowboys on the screen pass. That was led out by Cesar Ruiz. like all of his big time runs have always been set up due to the offensive line being able to block upfield. That's just the way that he runs. Some guys, they create their own lanes and they'll try to fight for extra yards and, try to peel off people. He's more of a finesse runner and a guy that, that's why a lot of people love Alvin Kamara, because the effort that he puts towards running, it doesn't seem like it's it's like effortless, right? Every time he runs, it's like, man, this dude makes it look easy because he's able to, move and shift based on the alignment of his offensive line. So what do you do when guys aren't setting up the blocks correctly? What do you do when your offensive line isn't in sync? And I just think that it's absolutely ridiculous. On one hand, you can sit here and say, well, the offensive line is not on the same page. We're seeing guys, one guy go this way to the left, other guy go to the right when they're supposed to be in sync. And the next thing you know, guess what? The defensive end is in the backfield. So we're going to concede to that. Why can't we concede to the fact that maybe the way that they are blocking up front can affect the running game? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Desi coming from a Falcon fan. Oh, what was actually said? Hold on, let's see. The Kubiak year wasn't that long ago. Alvin was arguably back to his old self. Yeah, man, it's just all about how you utilize Alvin. And yet a lot of people want Taysom instead of Kamara. If you want that, man, that's insane. I love AK, but let's be honest, he's Reggie Bush 2.0. Now he's better than Reggie Bush, man. He's better than Reggie Bush. Like Reggie Bush like generated a lot of excitement, and he was necessary for what New Orleans was actually going through and the region was going through at the time. And he was such an electrifying college football player, collegiate athlete. He sparked the city, right? He was the guy that generated the buzz, right? But at the end of the day, did he live up to the hype that was surrounding him in the 2006 draft coming out of USC? No, but he still was an active player for the Saints, and people loved him, and they still love him to this day. Alvin Kamara was way more productive in a Saints uniform than Reggie Bush was, but I don't think that Reggie Bush was just trash. I just think that based on what people thought Reggie Bush would be in the NFL, he didn't end up being that. Now you can come up with theories of utilization and how Sean Payton wanted to utilize him all you want to, but at the end of the day, he didn't live up to that. But Alvin Kamara clearly lived up to the Saints drafted him in the third round. With Travis Etienne as the starter and Alvin the backup, can Travis get 1,000 yards and Alvin 700 in rushing this season? I think, yeah, I believe that. I believe that is possible. Like, man, look, we acting like there's not still guys that are getting it really good 1-2 punches out here. Like we seen what Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery do it in Detroit over the last couple of years. And we've seen it when the Saints had Mark Ingram, right? It was a really good 1-2 punch between Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. Like, two running backs can coexist. Like, I know that everybody falls in love with the featured back and everybody like, okay, this is the guy. But, man, the NFL season is long. And you're talking about a guy, sometimes he might break free. Sometimes he might run into the back of offensive lineman or get smashed by a defensive end. And that's a lot of wear and tear and a lot of tread on the tires. So if you can have a change of pace guy or bring a guy in that can be able to switch things up, that's a plus. Especially if you have somebody that is a seasoned veteran that understands what they're doing. And like I said, Alvin Kamara still has that left. Is Alvin Kamara 2017, 2018 Alvin? No. But to say that you can't find a play for him on the team, I just think that that's ridiculous, especially since this is his last year, under contract. So if you want to, move on next year, then that's fine. But to say that Alvin Kamara can't win a competition with guys like Ty Chandler and Kendre Miller and Devin Neal and Archer Estime, I just think that's ridiculous. I'm gonna go ahead and open up the lines here. If you want to chime in, please do. I'm pretty much said my piece. Want to know what you're thinking. Do you think that Alvin Kamara is washed? I don't, like I said, I do not believe that. And nobody on here is going to be able to convince me that this guy can't be a compliment to Travis Etienne. Gotta break lanes for these guys. Yeah, man. It's people, look at this like, man, oh, it's so simple. It's so plain. Like, oh man, if you're a great running back, like everybody's not going to be a player that can create their own opportunities. Like even with Saquon Barkley, like Saquon Barkley rushed for 2,000 yards a couple of years ago, but the Eagles had the best offensive line in the game, right? I mean, when you looked at when Saquon was in New York, he would break off a big run. He'll probably finish the game with about 120 yards, right? And one of those, like his 120 yards, will probably come off a big 65 or 70-yard run. And all the rest of the game, he was probably getting smashed in the backfield. So all I'm saying is sometimes you got to look at things and understand, like, when you have an individual who has the talent and ability, that's fine. But when his success is predicated on something like the offensive line blocking, or if you're a wide receiver, a good quality quarterback throwing you the football, like you need these things in order for you to thrive. It's not like basketball to me. Like if basketball, if you can get 25 points a game, if you're not getting 25 points a game, what the heck is going on, right? I mean, you're in a shooting slump. It's the way the defense, like maybe playing you or something. Maybe you're not the same player. Like we can have these type of conversations then. But when it comes to football, running backs, wide receivers, like their success is predicated on blocks and competent quarterback play. So it's different. Let me go to Dalton. Dalton, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing just fine, man. We're talking about Alvin Kamara. Answering the question, is Alvin Kamara washed? What do you think about that?
Honestly, I'm gonna say no. I mean, I know he's like what in 30s already.
Right, 30 years old. He'll be 31 in July.
Okay, I don't think he's washed though. Here's my big problem about this whole AK situated. We don't got no decent O line. I don't think the coaches are not using him right though. Like they're trying to use him like a Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry situated though, which we all know he's not though. He's more like a receiving back though, and the only problem is I just don't think coaches are not using him right. Whatever he had like with Sean Payton, Darren Reese's, Clint Kubiak when he's offensive coordinator, and Kellen Moore. He did get injured though. I just don't think we're not using him right for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think that has a lot to do with it. Like if you look at the way that Sean Payton utilized Alvin Kamara, right? He used him in space, Dalton. He was able to, implement him in a passing game as well as the running game. And he has been an all-purpose back throughout his entire career. I just think that once Sean Payton left, it seemed like the New Orleans Saints started utilizing him more, in that feature role, running up the middle. We didn't see so many screen passes. That was a big topic of conversation a few years ago. It was like the things that made Alvin Kamara special as a all-around running back is like they stripped it down to the studs. And now we're talking about a guy who the Saints offensive coaching staff kind of made one or two dimensional here, man. So, I mean, I think you have to take that into consideration. I agree with what you're saying, man. You got to be able to utilize your special players.
I forgot to mention Pete Carmichael. Like he never used him right, which was sad.
Yeah, and that was actually a shock, Dalton, because you would think that him being around Sean Payton and him understanding the tendencies of Alvin Kamara, you would have thought that maybe you would have seen the same type of production, the same type of usage that you would have saw from Sean Payton, but you didn't. So, I mean, I just think that if you're talking about a guy being the same player that he was back in the day at 30, 31 years old, I mean, he's probably not. But I'm looking at it like people are saying as if there's no use for Alvin Kamara anymore. Like, so what do you think about him being in that feature role? Like, do you think that he'll be able to thrive in that role, man?
Probably not. I think he'll probably do some splits with them. I'm gonna say his name because I gotta get used to his new name though. Etienne.
Yeah. Etienne.
HM. I'm trying to get used to that name though, but I don't think
Right.
it's not gonna be the same. I think they're gonna rotate like playing like a third receiving back though, in my opinion, because he's more like a third back.
Yeah. I mean, look, and honestly, I don't think he would have a problem with it. That's what I'm saying. Like when you have a player like Alvin Kamara, who's not, that traditional, elite athlete, a guy that's willing to put his own like ego to the side for the betterment of the team. I think that he would be able to do whatever the Saints want him to do, and I think that he would. Honestly, at this stage of his career, I think he will appreciate a lighter load. I mean, he's even talked about that before. Like there are interviews that he's done where he said, like, you can't just rely on one particular person. And this is a guy who is getting the majority of the snaps. Like normally, if you're in that offense or in that defense and you're getting the majority of the snaps, you're like, okay, great. But he's talking about bringing in help to be able to assist him in order for him to be able to reach goals because he understands that football is a team sport.
Right. I think another problem about AK, I don't think he has like he's missing like his duo. Because remember when Mark Ingram went to the Ravens, we got Latavius Murray though. Even though he didn't stay long though, I believe we cut him like what 2021 or 22.
Somewhere around that time.
And we brought Mark Ingram back to the Saints though. He wasn't the same though, and we just never got an AK another duo though. That's what he was missing of.
Yeah. I think that they were relying like solely on him. They never really found anybody to compliment him. Like there's been guys that they tried to bring in. Like I feel like they wanted Kendre Miller to be that guy, but he just can't stay healthy. And maybe they thought maybe Devin Neal be able to be that guy. And look, I like Devin Neal a lot, but man, you got to be able to be healthy. Like at the beginning of the season, he wasn't able to take part in training camp the majority of the time because he was dealing with a hamstring. He was able to play in the last game of preseason, and he even played in the first game of the season, week 1. And then you didn't see him anymore until somebody else got hurt. So all I'm saying is, like, all these guys that they have brought in to maybe be that compliment for Alvin Kamara hasn't worked out because those guys weren't able to be upright when the Saints needed them. So maybe Alvin Kamara can, end up being, that Kendre Miller, to Travis Etienne, like be a guy that can be that complimentary back and be able to be that change of pace back. And there are opportunities where both of these guys can be on the field at the same time, like if you utilize your offense correctly.
Right. I think I give you another reason why AK should stay with Saints, though. Mentoring, because I think he'll be a good mentor to the running backs, though. I know I'm gonna say Eaton because I gotta get used to the new name though. He's not a rookie though. Like his first year for the Saints, so I think AK will be a good mentor to the running backs that we have.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he'll be a good mentor. And Alvin Kamara has been a player that has won a lot of games in the league. He knows what successful organizations look like. He knows what success looked like. When he first got to the Saints, they were winning double-digit games. So, he understands that, man. And a lot of those guys in the locker room, man, they don't know what success looked like. They haven't been to the playoffs. They haven't won double-digit games. A lot of the guys that the Saints have drafted over the last couple of years never been to the playoffs, right? You got a few guys up in there right now that knows what success looked like. Even Travis Etienne to a certain extent. They won his team, the Jaguars, won AFC South a couple of times and, won some games in the postseason. But at the end of the day, like there's nothing like somebody that has been there, done that, and understands what success actually looks like, and also has been successful in the league. So yes, I definitely feel he can be a mentor to a lot of these young players, and I think that he can be a good complimentary back without, Travis Etienne worrying about is this guy just coming out here trying to stab me in the back. I just think that Alvin Kamara will understand his role and he will do it. Whatever the Saints would need him to do, I think that he'll just follow suit because he's just not wired like a guy that just is so selfish that I just got to have everything and, be asking for trades. Because if this was the case, if this isn't grounds, Dalton, for somebody to act for a trade the way that Kellen Moore has been talking about Alvin, Mickey Loomis has talked about Alvin, it just tells you that this guy committed to the team in any capacity.
Agreed. I got another question though. Like when Kellen Moore got hired.
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, that running backs coach, Joel Smith,
Yeah.
was he a Saints running backs coach when Sean Payton was the coach?
Yep. Yeah, once Sean Payton left, he ended up going up to the Giants, and he was there for a couple of years when Dennis Allen took over. So they end up he ended up leaving, and then once Kellen Moore returned, Kellen Moore got hired, then Joe Thomas returned back to the Saints. So yeah, he's been there. So he's very if you're asking about him being familiar with Alvin, yeah, he was there during the time when I want to say when the Saints end up drafting Alvin, so he's very familiar with.
Yeah, and that's what I meant to ask.
Yeah. You got anything else?
No, I'm pretty sure everybody's waiting. I'm not gonna keep it any longer, but it was great talking to you, bro.
No problem, Dalton, man. I appreciate you for chiming in, man. Call back anytime.
All right, shout out to you and shout out to everybody in the chat. Who dat?
Yeah, who that, man? Yeah, shouts out to Dalton, man. Always a great call, talking and chopping it up with him. But yeah, man, look, I just think that you're looking at a guy in Alvin Kamara who is not selfish, and like he'll understand his role as being a complimentary back to Travis Etienne. And also, I think it'll be beneficial to Travis Etienne for him to be able to withstand the entire season without him having to have wear and tear and just getting all those different carries where it's just putting punishment on his body. Taysom was Sean Payton's project, and he is good, but the project may be over. Yeah, I think that that injury that Taysom Hill had, it was very late in the season in 2024, and he ended up like coming back, and he just wasn't the same player, man. I don't know, maybe another year removed, he'll probably be a little bit more faster, a little bit more shiftier, but I just think that when you look at it, I believe Taysom is like going to be like 36 years old. I just think that it's over. Like, I don't think he's coming back. I don't think that the Saints are going to bring him back. I'll be shocked if they did. And it was a great moment in time to watch Taysom Hill do his thing. But I just think that the Saints are turning the page when it comes to that. And he's one of those players I just feel like they wanted to like send off with a bang. That's the reason why in that Jets game they kept trying to get him the ball. So, him being in the Superdome for the last time, they wanted to send him out on a high note. And I just think the writing is on the wall. So, look, I like Taysom Hill a lot. I think he's going to be in the Saints Ring of Honor. I even went on record and said I think that Taysom Hill is the one of the greatest football players I ever seen. And by football players, I mean football players. Like when we talk about football, we talk about a guy, doing one particular thing really well. But we're talking about a football player that did a multifaceted of things really, really well. So I have nothing but respect for Taysom, but I mean, we gotta put this thing into perspective here. More than likely he's not coming back. AK is not washed. They are losing their minds for real. Yeah, he's not washed to me. But some people feel that way, man. Some people are really like debating and trying to convince others that Alvin Kamara is washed. Like, but I heard the same thing with Cam Jordan. So, and no, my dog, not washed. Just the lines of pass was. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the line wasn't doing any service. I want the white AK jersey, Dalton. I have the black one. I have a AK jersey. Okay. I mean, got a lot, man. My son, Peg, that was the first jersey I ever bought him was an Alvin Kamara jersey. That jersey still hanging up. We was about 2 or 3 years old. Long live Taysom Hill. Yeah, he gonna go to the Saints Ring of Honor. You ain't got to worry about that. Says, man, let's face it, AK is kind of like a disgruntled player that took his frustration from DA coaching campaign to Kellen Moore coaching campaign. AK mannerism just seemed like he doesn't want to be here. I don't believe that, Monster. I don't believe that. Because if Alvin Kamara did not want to be with the Saints, he wouldn't be with the Saints. Like, just think about what we're talking about here. Think about the person that we're talking about. We're talking about a guy who marches to the beat of his own drum, extremely transparent. Like, he basically like is not one of those guys that just gonna pretend and to be okay with a situation when he's not. Like, he's not that type of person. And then on top of that, we're talking about a guy who could have did the same thing he normally does every single year, which is not show up to OTAs, and he showed up. And he has said on countless occasions he wants to be in New Orleans. Like normally when players say that kind of stuff, I take it, tongue in cheek, so to speak. Like, yeah, they gotta say that. Like, you gotta be a little bit of a politician if you're a professional athlete, right? Because you don't want to tick off your fan base, you don't want to alienate them, like you don't want to do those type of things, right? So but when it comes down to Alvin Kamara and him saying things like, I want to be here, I like New Orleans, I believe him. I believe that. I believe he wants to be in New Orleans. And if you look at his personality, him not really just chasing personal accolades, he just kind of just gets things done in a grand scheme of things. If it ends up being a 3-touchdown game, fine. If it ends up being a 1-touchdown game for him, fine. That's just who he is and what he has been. So no, I don't think he's disgruntled to a point where he's just like, oh, I want to tear everything down. I look at the Dennis Allen situation. Everybody felt like Dennis Allen wasn't the answer. Like it wasn't just guys in the locker room. I mean, everybody felt that way. The entire fan base felt that way. Teammates felt that way, right? So I mean, him saying it out loud, something that everybody already knew, like, so what? And if he actually spearheaded the charge, like I said before, are they mad at the fact that he spearheaded the charge, or the fact that he has so much power and cachet to a point where people will actually follow him when it comes to his thoughts and his views? I don't know. Maybe organizations don't want players to have that type of power where they can be able to, convince ownership that things aren't going in the right direction. Maybe the front office takes offense to that. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it was necessary for the New Orleans Saints to move on from Dennis Allen. And I don't think he's carrying any type of vendetta against the team, because if that was the case, he wouldn't have showed up. He wouldn't have showed up to OTAs, and he wouldn't have been around at all. And he definitely wouldn't be sitting up here saying that he wants to be here. I mean, just look at the Saints head coach Kellen Moore. Like he's the one beating around the bush. It doesn't seem like Alvin Kamara is. So if he doesn't want to be here, trust and believe, Monster, he wouldn't be there. I also have Cam Jordan white jersey and Josh Allen color rush jersey. That's Paxton's favorite team, the Buffalo Bills, man. His favorite quarterback. Well, Tyler Shuck right now is his favorite quarterback, which is the reason why he decided to wear number 6 this season in flag football. But he loves Josh Allen. I do not agree. He has made it clear he doesn't want to play anywhere else but the Saints. He does. I mean, normally when players say that, like I said, I think it's a little bit some politics going on, but I really believe he doesn't want to play for any other team. He wanted help in the backfield also. He said that on countless occasions. I mean, just go back and just look at some of the interviews he's done. He's talked about, sharing the load and adding guys to the backfield. If AK didn't think he can play, he would just retire. I think that's just who he is. Yep. I mean, he's not the guy that wants to waste anybody's time. I mean, just look. I don't know, man. I just think that sometimes fans, people that are sports fans, they come accustomed to the status quo of an athlete, right? And we formulate our opinion based on the status quo. But every now and then there comes a guy that comes along and marches to the beat of his own drum. He thinks differently. He really is genuine in the things that he say. There's nothing nefarious about it, and we can't really fathom that. We always feel like there's some hidden agenda, but I don't think there's a hidden agenda. I think that if Alvin Kamara was as washed as some people would say that he is, Alvin Kamara would say, man, look, I don't think I'm contributing to this team anymore. I don't think that I ain't trying to waste nobody time. I ain't trying to waste nobody money. Like I'm gonna just go ahead and hang it up. Like I think he's that type of person. I'm serious. Like I call me naive, but I really believe that. Mont said, I wish I can call call TJ about to listen. I mean, Monster, if you want to call in, man, I'll put the link in there, man. Feel free to chime in. You know, like I said, I put the link in there, man. Give you opportunity to call, chime in. I don't know if you're doing something where you can't, but man, feel free to do so. Crazy thing is, I sound like Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen is my favorite. Yeah, you definitely sound like Patrick Mahomes. But hey, man. But yeah, Josh Allen, man. I like Josh Allen. I like watching Josh Allen play. You know, it's unfortunate that some of those playoff situations have happened, man. I hope that he's able to get over that hump eventually, man. I really do. The organization is trying to get him to take a team-friendly deal. Kellen is a company guy. Well, I mean, at this point, he has to be. He has to be a company guy. I mean, he doesn't have enough skins on the wall for him not to be anything other than that. But I also think that he's not, you know, I mean, he's not like a puppet or anything like that. I think that the New Orleans Saints are allowing Kellen Moore to build the team and structure the team the way that he wants the team to be. And for that, I give them respect. You know, I see Kellen Moore personality showing up in a lot of these players, and a lot of the players that are coming in. I think that it's the players that he wants, and it's the offense that he wants to structure. With Brandon Staley, I think it's the defense that he wants to structure. So they're giving him an opportunity to build the team the way that he wants to. But I also feel like they want to go in a different direction. I do feel like they want to get younger players. I do feel like they want to get players that they consider their players, right? Get rid of the Sean Payton, Drew Brees type culture that's going on and create their own. And that's fair. Like that's fair. Like that doesn't mean that you disrespect the yesteryear. It means that you're trying to establish a culture that resembles you. And I just feel like that there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. And anybody that feels like there's something wrong with that, it is really not. So at the end of the day, I just think that, you know, he deserves to build the team the way that he wants to. And if you want Travis Etienne to be his feature back, that's fine. But the biggest issue that I have when it comes to the Saints is them beating around the bush and acting as if, you know, like, okay, yeah, Alvin's here. Yeah, you know, we want Alvin to be here. Yeah, he wants, you know, like, yeah, he's around. Yeah, but it's good to have depth in the room. Like, come on, man. Like, you don't treat a guy who is your all-time lead in rush, your all-time lead touchdown leader and stuff, all these different accolades that this guy has had. You don't treat this guy like that, man. Like, you don't treat him that way, right? You go to him and you be real with him. Like, man, okay, look, this is where we are right now. Like, we appreciate what you're doing, but we felt like, you know, Travis, at this stage of his career, we want him to be the featured guy. Like, be real and straight up with him instead of like just beating around the bush and, you know, just acting afraid to tell it like it is. A crowded wide receiver room is also leveraging negotiations with CO. Man, I don't think the Saints getting out of that one. They're gonna have to pay that man. There's not a wide receiver in that room that's better at this point than Chris Olave is. So I mean, I know Jordan Tyson is the guy everybody's looking at, but we don't know what this guy is going to be in the NFL. Like, everybody has their expectations, but right now that's exactly what they are, expectations. The Chris Olave bet on himself. He didn't rattle the cage. He didn't rock the boat talking about contract negotiations. He was real at the beginning of the season. He says, there's no need for me to sit up here and negotiate contracts because I ain't doing enough. You know, I haven't done enough. I've been injured. So he wanted to go out there and prove it. He had 9 touchdowns, 1,100 yards, over 100 catches, and a second-team All-Pro, you know, to his credit. So he bet on himself, and now the Saints are going to have to pay up. They challenged him, and he was up to the challenge. TJ AK showed up like when somebody that everybody talk greasy about walks in mid-convo, and it gets awkward and quiet. Yeah, man, like, yeah, that is true. It's like they probably didn't expect for him to be around, or it's like that, you know, that ex showing up and, you know, at a wedding or something like that. Like, man, you just like, maybe you know, you about to get married or something like that in a hotel, and then all of a sudden it just so happened that your ex standing there. Wait a minute, what you doing? wait a wait a minute. You know, like that is kind of what it was. Like, you know, they were not expecting for him to show up. So he just definitely kind of caught them off guard. But I just think that that was his way of just saying, man, do what y'all gonna have to do, right? You know, like do what y'all have to do. Like, let's be real about this. Let's not, you know, let's not play around. Let's not beat around the bush. I think that that was his message by him showing up. But at the end of the day, I think that Alvin Kamara isn't washed. I think that, you know, maybe the days of him just being the featured, the featured back for the Saints are over, or even any other team. But when it comes down to him being that complimentary guy to Travis Etienne, I think that the Saints will be a much better, formidable team with those two individuals being in the backfield, than any one of those other guys. And like I said, it's not a knock on them. I think that Devin Neal is talented. Kendra is talented. Todd Chandler is talented. Archer Estime is talented. I think that all of those guys, in certain situations will be able to give you something. But I don't think at this stage of their careers, they're going to give you more than what Alvin can, and being that change of pace back with Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne definitely should be the feature back, but Alvin Kamara should accompany him in that backfield. But thank you all so much for checking out this edition of the Straight Up TJ podcast. Really do appreciate it. Thank you for spending your Friday with yours truly. Thank you so much. I know y'all could be doing so many other things, but make sure that you subscribe to the channel, help the channel to grow. I really appreciate that. Make sure that you subscribe to the Sleeper Saints podcast. We're going to have a video available very soon. I'm probably going to record one after this. If not, it's going to be tomorrow where you'll be able to check it out. Going to talk a little bit about Chris Olave's contract. Haven't talked about that yet. And also just make sure y'all subscribe, man. Just trying to grow that channel, having a really good time building that channel up and trying to create content. So make sure that y'all subscribe to that channel, and also make sure that you hit that subscribe button over here as well. Follow me on X at TJAYJones8. And till next time, I'll see you down the road.
DJ, yeah. Straight up, let's go. Welcome to Straight Up DJ. Tap in, sit back, press replay. Been locked in with the Saints on a weekday. Now we talking every sport, every big play. Years on the grind, now we level up the view. From the dome to the world, get a better look at you. No script.